Good morning and welcome to the Transportation Information Mapping System TIMS webinar. My name is Paula Hyman from the Ohio LTAP Center, and I'm going to be your technical support for today's webinar. Just a couple of items. If you have questions throughout this presentation, please type them into the questions box and our presenter will address your questions. If you want to go ahead and locate that now, you can just type a hello, hi, just to make sure you know where it's located and how it works. This webinar is being recorded. Providing successful recording, this webinar will be emailed out to all participants following the webinar, and a certificate will be emailed to you within 5 to 7 business days following the conclusion of today's webinar. I want to thank you in advance for your participation, and with that, I'll pass things off to Ms. Katie Robertson.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first TIMS training webinar of 2022. We usually do these quarterly. This year we might be doing only 3 or 4, but I'm glad you all could join us today to learn how to get the best out of our mapping system. Our Transportation Information Mapping System is ODOT's web mapping portal where you can discover information about Ohio's transportation systems, create maps, and share information. Our goal is to provide better data to help you make better decisions. Dun, dun, dun. So in today's webinar, we are going to just step through the website live. I don't have PowerPoint. We'll just make sure that we hit all of the main tools and features of the website today. So I invite you to open up the site in another window, or you can even open it on your phone and follow along in the mobile view. So to start, how do you get to TIMS? Well, you can Google it, ODOT TIMS, and apparently they had to work very hard to get this to show up, but it should be the first thing that will show up when you Google ODOT TIMS. Or you can go to ODOT's homepage, transportation.ohio.gov, under Know Our Programs. Here you can search TIMS, and you'll get the link here. And there'll be a landing page with some information, but with the launch button on this page, you can open the website. And if you are an ODOT employee and when you open your browser, it probably defaults to our internal portal. And from the internal portal homepage, we have a link to TIMS right here. So all of those ways will bring you here to our TIMS homepage, gis.dot.state.oh.us/TIMS. No one's going to remember that, but hopefully you'll remember one of the other ways to access. And let's start with just a general overview of our homepage here. We have a couple of links in our footer. Of course, the homepage will always bring you back here. News is where if we have any upcoming changes, we may post information here. It's usually not a whole lot going on. About just some technical specs. Contact is a very important link because it has our email address, and any emails sent to this email address will go to the inbox of myself and several other team members, and we try to get back to you right away within the same day. And you're welcome to email us any technical issues that you experience, any requests for data that is not in TIMS and you would like to see it added, or map features, anything like that is welcome. If you're just confused and you've looked through the help documents, you've gone through the training and you still have some questions, you're welcome to contact us here. A couple of other links, and oh yes, the help link will open a PDF user guide, and as a PDF you can search through this document if you saw a tool in today's webinar and then you come back to it a week later, kind of forget how it works. This would be a good spot. It's taking a minute to load, and I'm not, I guess I'll leave it I'm hoping I don't have any internet issues today, but we'll leave this tab and come back to it just so you can get an idea of what that user guide looks like. So we have the home link in the footer, but also the TIMS logo bar will get you back to the home page. And we have a shortcut to search by PID, our project ID, and we'll demo this a little later on in the webinar. And our ODOT Zephyr will get you to ODOT's homepage. And when I hover over that, I'm seeing the link in the bottom. If you guys saw it pop up around here, it looks like we do need to update that to the new URL where it's just transportation.ohio.gov. I think it should get you to the same place though. Okay, so within the application, it's divided into pages, and each page on the home page has a button. So project search, create a map is our main mapping portal. The data download is where you can get entire data sets that are pre-packaged and zipped to make them easily to download. And you can get multiple file formats, Excel, KML or KMZ, a shapefile, or a geodatabase. If you are a GIS user, you'll know what those are. Standard PDF maps, these are some templates that we've configured on the back end so that you can quickly pick an area of interest and a theme and create a PDF map for your meetings or whatever you would need those for. Map viewers are the same tools and setup as create a map, but the layers that are available there are specific to certain groups, mostly within ODOT. So say environmental department wants a special symbology or some extra layers that maybe aren't applicable to everyone else, we'll have those there. Our data glossary is where you can look up descriptions of each of the data sets or layers and see the fields and the attributes and descriptions for them. And then finally, crash data search, we also refer to that as our GCAT system. We have separate trainings for GCAT that are also managed through LTAP. So if you're curious and want to learn about that tool, then you can get some information from LTAP for those. Okay, so let's step through. Let's start with our project search. Of course, our projects represent all the work that's being done on the roadways. It is the meat and potatoes of our, what we do here at ODOT. So we have a page dedicated to searching and navigating our project database. There are some limitations to what project records we bring through to TIMS, so I think it's worthwhile reading through our description here at the top. So on the Transportation Project Search page, you can find transportation projects from ODOT's project database, also referred to as ELLIS. This search includes projects with funding categories of ELLIS Multi-Lane Major Rehab, STIP, Major Bridge, Safety HSP, Safety SRTS, Local Programs, and TRACK. This search includes projects that are completed, current or future projects with committed funding, and that's an important one. And 3, they must have a valid work location. And I'll go into that in a little more detail in a minute. The information provided here are an overview of the project information, not a comprehensive view of our project database, our ELLIS database. The project information available in TIMS is updated on a nightly basis. Project IDs, PIDs, with multiple work locations will result in multiple records. And we can see an example of that last statement at the bottom in our results table. You'll see when I open this page, it remembered in my browser settings the last search that I did. And we can reset that, and you'll see that the results pane automatically populates, and you can control the number of records. For our demos today, I'm going to change this to just 5 records so that it will fit neatly within our screen and I don't have to scroll as much. And you can see with no filters, it's pulling in over 76,000 project records. But you can see that this project ID 4062, it has multiple records, and that's because within this project, there are multiple locations along the roadway recorded. So we have State Route 18, and then these log points represent, the location along that route, and also State Route 94 with its location. So that is why you will see multiple records here, even though it has the same PIN. Okay. And then to unselect those, you'll just click them again. So if we want to start filtering ODOT districts, we have 12 districts plus our central office, 13. I'm going to filter by county today, and we have the drop-down list, but all of the drop-down lists throughout the TIMS website, you can type to filter. So I'm going to start typing, and you'll see how it filters that list. I'm going to select wood. And you'll see at the bottom that it's automatically filtered down to all of the project records that were recorded for Wood County. And we can filter it some more by primary work category. I'm not super familiar with what types of work fall within what categories, but if you work with these often, you may know exactly what you're trying to get to. So I'm going to apply a filter based on date, the calendar year that the project manager enters this project. I'm not sure if it's exactly going to line up with the construction dates, but you can think of it that way when this work is going to be performed out in the field. So if I start filtering 2021, you'll see I still have 182 records, and there's going to be projects that are planned into the future. And let's see, there may be projects that are going to show up here that do not yet have a work location. So if we go back up to this middle, this third point in the explanation at the top of the page, they must have a valid work location in order for us to view them on the map, right? We take this route and the log points, and that's how we map them in the Create a Map page. On this project search page, you will still see records that do not yet have a location, because we're pulling in a full table here before we've created map geometry. And usually those are going to be future projects. They've made it into Ellis. They've made it through the filters into the TIMS database, but they don't yet have all of the information. So once we have narrowed down our list, we can sort by any of these fields. You can search by using this search box. So say you're looking for a project in Wood County and you know what route it's on. Is it 75 that goes through? And so you'll see that I searched on my route number, but I have these leading zeros. I'm taking advantage of the format that we use for that route field. And if you're familiar with our NLFID, the identifiers, network linear identifier that we give to all of the roadways in Ohio, it's a certain number of characters, and that's why we have the leading zero so that it's always represented in the same way. And knowing that, I can use the search box to limit down to those routes. If I just searched 75, I would also get all of the records that had 75 anywhere in the PID or anywhere in the log points. So once we've narrowed these down, if we want to get information on a specific record, then we can click this View Details button that's at the left of every row. And when you do that, it's going to open a new window. I like to make sure that I open it in a new tab while I'm doing these webinars, just so that I don't lose my place. But if you just click it and it opens in your tab, you can always backspace to get back to the project search. So our project information page, it just is a better layout to show more of those attributes about the project so that you can scroll through. It'll have links to project proposals and project plans. We'll see if we can't show you an example. So here we link to another system managed by the Office of Contracts. And if there is a project plan in the system, you'll see it, and you can, I believe, oh, I think first one to download, second one to just view it in the browser. Okay, I was incorrect. Please accept my apology. So it will download a PDF, and you can see a preview of that here. So that's a good resource to quickly get to that information. And that's a goal that we have throughout TIMS, is to make it easy to link to all of the other systems. So always keep your eye out for these blue links to help you get more information and link to other systems. From this project information page, you can go straight to the map and you will view only this one PID on the map. Or you can view this information in Ellis. It's not our full Ellis project database, but it's a pared down system that's publicly available. And you'll see it sends it straight to that system with a query for that PID. And this is another system that you can navigate and get more information. Okay, I'm not going to do the view and map quite yet. Let's make sure. Okay, let's go back a second because we did finally get our PDF user loaded. So you can see, get an idea of the resources available there. You can use Control F to search within this document for any of the tool names. So that's a really good resource to know about. Back on our project search page, you have to select the results one by one. We've had a lot of requests to be able to select all. And so we're hoping when we do another round of enhancements, hopefully within the next year, we'll be able to add that feature. But right now, the idea is to keep the site working fast and have it respond as quickly as possible, even though on the back end, we have these very large databases. So you have to select one by one, or you can select them all. Now I could export these project records from here to Excel, KMZ, Shapefile, Geodatabase, the same options that we have exporting from the data download page, or I can send them over to our map. So we'll do that now. And hopefully if you guys are following along, it is responding a little faster than it is for me. Again, you'll see it's sending it to our map and it's filtering on those PIDs. I'm going to make a note on the side of 54833 in case we want to come back to that later. I do apologize, it's responding slow. I'm going to try, just don't want to waste your time here today, see if we can just get the page to open. Okay, when we navigate away from our home page, you can see that all of those page links that we had buttons for, they are still available on the toolbar at the top. And so that we're not wasting more time, I'm going to see if this site will respond on the other pages and we can circle back to that. maybe let any network issues resolve themselves. Okay, so on our data glossary page, the drop-down list of all of the data sets is also searchable. So if we want to look for projects, that one's actually under Ellis. We can search bridge. Oh, I don't know about you guys, but this is my worst nightmare, that we're presenting and the site's not responding. And I'm sure that it is my internet connection at this point. I'm wondering if it's maybe still trying to download. Let's start over. And just to keep you guys engaged, while hopefully we sort this out, if you want to type a note in the questions pod, maybe let me know how you're using the system, or if you're internal to ODOT or part of another organization, what kind of information you typically come to TIMS looking for. Let's cross our fingers. Gosh, Paula, what do we do? Okay, so as things load, I'm just going to do my very best to make sure that we hit all the options without trying to do too much clicking today. So just bear with me. So once we open our Create a Map page, this is our main map page that includes the majority of the data sets. All the data sets that are available here are also available in our data download page to download the full data set. And you can see we have them categorized: assets, some samples of data that you can see: ODOT facilities, the assets along the roadway that are part of our collector program, conduits, outfalls, safety barriers, noise wall inventory, all of the assets along the road that we have to inventory and inspect on a regular basis. Under boundaries, we have some reference data, so you can get ODOT districts. That one will probably draw okay. School districts, Senate and House districts, and some census information. You'll see that as I turn any layers on, you can switch over to the Legend tab to get a view of what the symbols represent. Of course, with boundaries, that's just a simple line. If we go back to facilities, you can see what each of those symbols represents. So the legend updates as you turn layers on and off. Under environmental, we have some restrictions, mowing restrictions, and these are only for ODOT maintenance only. Some wetland information and some hydrology reference information. Under projects, so this is the database that we search on the project search page, and we talked about how it has to have a location, and that location is sent to the map based on its road, its route number, and then its log points. So if we have Route 75 log point 2, and we don't have a second log point, that's a point, and so it comes through as a point geometry. If it has 2 log points, it represents a segment of the road. So say for a paving job, it will represent where that paving begins and then ends, so that it comes through as our linear. And these layers below are just some filters that have been applied so that you can automatically narrow down what you're going to turn on this very large data set. And very useful is our current projects. This filter looks at the construction date, and if this project is in Ellis as currently in construction, then it will show through this filter. Those are large data sets. I'm not going to turn those on yet, but we will here in a minute. Let me just give a brief overview of the types of information that we have. Roadway information, lots of different ways of viewing the information that we store about the roadways. Of course, our main roadway information, road inventory, and then that layer filtered out different ways. You can view only the NHS, National Highway System, or you can view them by functional class. And we'll feature a few of these others once we get zoomed into a smaller area. And then under our safety section, we have some of the crash information that you can access through the GCAT system, but it's pared down so that it can be publicly available, and it's limited to just a couple of years so that it's a manageable database for our public-facing TIMS. Okay, so let's quickly go over this toolbar at the top, and then we'll dive into each one of them and turn some layers on and off as we go. So if you hover over, you'll get a description, set visible layers, find locations. I like to consider those like zoom to a location. Identify features. Once you have layers turned on in your map, you can use this to see all of the details about one specific feature. Some basic tools for measuring or linking to some other systems. Some tools for filtering a layer that you have turned on, and some maybe more advanced tools to importing some of your own data to view that alongside some of our TIM data sets. So let's zoom into a smaller area so that we can hopefully turn some of these layers on and off without freezing up the browser. And we'll start at the bottom with find area. So you can zoom to a district or an urban area, a planning organization. We're going to still pick on Wood County. And again, all drop-down lists are can be filtered by typing. So we want to zoom in even more. We're in Wood County. We can zoom into a certain log point or section along the road. So let's narrow down by county, and then Interstate Route 75. And then you'll see it gives me the valid log points within that county. So if I just go right in the middle, it should get me pretty close to Bowling Green. And it will zoom in further and populate some information. You'll see it'll give me the lat long of that location. And it's created a record in my results table down at the bottom. And it's important to know the behavior behind this results table and when it's populating a list or populating a record in the results table. So I hit that search button, it created this record. If I go back to my set visible layers, you'll see that it's also created this section, results layers. And this is going to happen each time that you search a location or perform a search on a filter. So if you're really playing around, you might kind of build up quite a few of these, and we definitely will throughout the webinar today. But let's go through the other options. One thing before I navigate away from find log point, you'll see we also have the option to click on map. Say I'm in a location and I need to report the log point. I need to know what that NLF ID and log point for a certain location is. So you can activate this tool and click anywhere over a roadway, And again, you'll see it's populated the record in the results table, and it also is showing the information here in the left side tool pane. And we have similar options under the find latitude and longitude. Of course, if you have coordinates, you can paste those in here and zoom to that location. Or you can activate the tool to report a coordinate and just click anywhere in the map, and it will give you that information here. And you can switch the format, degrees, minutes, seconds, or back to decimal degrees. And finally is the powerful find address or intersection tool, just like you would search on Google Maps. It populates automatically with the address of central office, ODOT central office in Columbus. Let's see, as an example, just because I'm looking at this area of the map, so I know I will do an intersection. I see Poe Road and I see Mercer Road, and I know we're in Bowling Green. And I do not know the zip code, but we'll click find, and again, it's zoomed to that location. It's created this pointer that coincides with the record in the results table, and you see that we're accruing our search results. You can switch back and forth between these, bring that information back to the results table. So it's good to know how that's working. And you can clear them. I find that sometimes the browser holds onto them even though I've removed the layer here. So just something to keep in mind. But once you close this browser session and come back another time, those will be gone. So I'll just turn them off for now. And now that we're zoomed into this location, let's turn some layers on and cross our fingers. So let's see if we turn on current projects. And see if we can find something going on in Wood County. And I see it down here, and I want to give myself some more screen space for just looking at the map. So I can resize this results table. I can move it, or I can just minimize it completely. And the same for the tools pane. When I'm navigating in the map, just like any other system that you're familiar with, I can double click to zoom in, use my mouse button to zoom out, click and drag to pan. And we also have the navigation buttons here. While we're going over navigating within the map, let's hit these three options in the top right corner. We can change the base map that we see behind our features. So we have some options. These are third-party options that just come with our Esri system. It's powered by Esri. We have our ODOT base map, and I believe this will be the default. And we also have imagery that is available through OGRIP, or I believe it's Ohio's DAS system. So Ohio Statewide Imagery Program, I believe the state is flown on a 2-year cycle. You can just choose best available to let it automatically pick. And if you're zoomed far out and try to turn on this base map, it is going to spin for quite a while. So it's important, if you ever open TIMS and it's just spinning and spinning, your first thing that you could try is to switch back to this ODOT base map. Okay, so we're seeing our current project happening here on this roadway, and we can use our identify tool to get more information about that project. So I activate the tool by clicking it, and then over the map I have my crosshairs icon. I click over any of the features, and it's going to populate these attributes. And you'll see that these are the same attributes that we viewed on the project information page, just in a different format here, but we still have those links to the project plans, and information at the end of when this database was last updated. Ellis is updated on a daily basis, so this should change every day. While we have this layer on, we can view how we can filter within a data set or a layer when it's turned on. So let's start with filter by attributes. And you'll see that I can select only from the features that I have turned on. So I've turned on both of my current project geometries. And of course, we've been generating a lot of these results tables, so those will show as well. So let's narrow down the current projects that I've turned on by, and we'll do something, pretty simple here. So we can do by county. Because if I zoomed way out, I'd be drawing the current projects for the entire state. And usually I would demo that, but I don't want to freeze up the system for you guys again. So we'll use our drop downs. And now when I click that search button, it is going to generate one of those results tables. We'll see it down here. We have some options from the results table. You can zoom to one individual feature. You can search. This is a generic search tool, just like on the project search page. So again, we could use what we know about the road number formatting. You can change the number of records that you're viewing here, and you can export the records that you're viewing here in those same 4 file formats. Okay, let's clear that and show another way to filter. And again, we're going to filter our points. And we're going to do it by one of those areas of interest, the same options that we had when we wanted to do a find locations by area. I really wanted to cooperate. So I'll have to look into that, and then I do apologize, but you would pick a boundary, you would pick a county name. This tool right here, it should list all of the counties, and again, it would generate that results table. Let's try the filter by graphic tool. And there's a couple of options. We're actually going to draw a graphic on the page. We can do that by point, line, or polygon. Let's draw a point. We're going to activate the tool by clicking the draw button. Click once on the map. Gosh, guys. It should draw a graphic, and then we could create a buffer. So we'd have a circle. And then when we click search, it would return all of the records within there. Okay, so let me take a breather, not get too frustrated. And I see we have some questions in the chat pod. So let's take a minute to look at those. Do the shapefiles have standard Ohio projections or coordinate systems? Yes, everything in TIMS is published and downloaded with the coordinate system WGS 84 Web Mercator. So I know a lot of systems that are specific to Ohio will want to have their data in State Plane North or State Plane South. So you would have to project that out of the Web Mercator into the State Plane Coordinate System or projection. Okay, I see a lot of people look for, yep, those assets along the road. Active Transportation Map Bureau. Okay, so we'll look at that here in a second. Can we obtain the non-public facing databases for crashes? So for that, you would need to go through the GCAT system, and if you're already a user of that system, then hopefully you'll have some resources, know who to contact if you want to download that information. It's not, the full data sets are not available through TIMS system, but if you can open GCAT through this link, and it should have some contact information there. So, okay, let's make sure, looks like we've got about 20 minutes left. Let's make sure that you guys have the opportunity to see the rest of the site. On our data download page, we have all of the data sets grouped just the way they are in Create a Map, and you can select one or many and choose your format and download. And what you will get is each data set will be in a zipped folder. And if you selected multiple, those zipped folders will be within another zipped folder. So you will unpack all of that and then have your individual data sets. Our standard PDF maps, if we want to see construction season, again, we would pick our area of interest. You can pick your base map, you can pick your size. Let's do the smallest one and hopefully see. And then you need to click the Generate Map button, and it's going to think for a minute. It's going to take your settings and plug it into that template on our server behind the scenes. And when it's ready, when that file is ready, this button will refresh and say download, and then you will download a PDF. On the Create a Map page, there's also a print feature. And it's just going to be a generic view of whatever you have, whatever you're viewing in the map at that point. It's not going to have a legend. You may be able to provide a title. Oh, one thing I did not share, I got sidetracked with the base maps. You can use the Share Map with Your Friends tool to generate a custom URL. You can copy this, paste it into an email, and then you'll have a link that will get you back to this map zoomed to this location, and whichever layers you had turned on will also still be turned on. So that's a very useful tool. Okay, let's take a look at our, doesn't like me when I download things. Okay, so here's an example of what you will get with our PDF map templates. So you'll have a legend, you'll have a description of the data that's on there, and you've picked your theme and the location. Okay, map viewers. Let's take a look at the active transportation map viewer. Someone mentioned that they use that on a regular basis. And you'll see it's just like the Create a Map page, only the layers that are available are different. And it may be the same layers, but symbolized in a different way, filtered out in a different way. The active transportation map viewer features bike routes and ADA assets. Again, some of that crash information filtered out to just view pedestrian and bicycle crashes. Some great information that was generated from an analysis studying need and demand for active transportation resources. It's a very pretty layer as well. I won't turn it on though because it may take a while to draw. Okay, so from within this site, let's see, have I forgotten anything? You can filter, you can, oh yeah, we need to talk about our tools. You can link to other systems, map channel, I activated. Okay, so map channel, you'll just click anywhere and it's going to take you to an external mapping site that just mashes together street view and aerial photographs all into one page. And this is not managed by ODOT. We just find it very useful, so we link directly to it from our page. And we also have ODOT PathWeb. This is an ODOT system where we have the vehicle outfitted with all the cameras and lasers that is collecting information on the roadways. So it will open the PathWeb system. I believe that there's links to the PathWeb homepage on the ODOT homepage, just like you would search for TIMS. There should be a link for PathWeb, but linking to it directly from TIMS will zoom to the location that you clicked in the map. And from there, you can view the images, view the pavement images as it scans the roadway as they drive along. And just some basic tools. You can create a bookmark for the area that you're zoomed into, and this will be saved in your browser. So if you completely deleted all of your browser data, that would be gone. But if it's a location that you just need to zoom back to on a regular basis, that might be useful. And then just a basic measuring tool. We'll see if this will let me click on the map. So like all the other tools, the behavior is the same. You pick your settings, you click to activate the tool, and then you interact with the map. And I clicked once, I double clicked to end, and it's going to report the miles. And I could change that format, yeah, and it should respond automatically. From this tool, you can also report state plane eastings and northings. Hopefully in future versions, we might have that incorporated into our find lat long, and it'll just provide the coordinates for multiple types of projections. Right now we have it incorporated here, so it is good to know if you need to report in that format, you can use this tool. Okay, and let's give it a shot, at least talk about the options available for adding your own data. Of course, a shapefile, if you're familiar with that format, KMZ, LRS events, you'll input a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet needs to contain a field with an NLFID value and one log point or two log points. You'll choose if it's a point or line event. You can import a spreadsheet that's going to include latitude and longitude coordinates. Very powerful tool. You can geocode addresses if you have a spreadsheet with addresses and want to view those on the map. And then you can reverse geocode if you have latitude and longitude in a spreadsheet and you want to know the addresses. And let's give that a shot. I try to keep samples available, so we'll see. Does not want to let me do that. First geocode. Okay, so I pointed to the spreadsheet that I want to upload. I told it where to look, and now I click upload, so it will read in that spreadsheet. And it will try to automatically, you'll see these are all of the columns within my spreadsheet, and it'll try to automatically fill those in. I hope everyone is still with me. I see we have one of the largest groups today, and unfortunately the slowest system of all the webinars that I've done. But hopefully you guys are still getting familiar with how to navigate around the site. And you'll see that did fail. Just to give you an example of something that might be successful, could load another one. But I think, you know what? We'll try this one last thing, and I think we'll wrap it up with a quick review, and I'll let everyone get back to their day. So I'm looking for KMZ. Just does not like me today, so I'm not going to dwell on it. It's beeping at me. We already did that. Thank you. Okay. Oh, okay. So we'll finish with one final thing. You've found the information that you need in TIMS, and everything's worked great, right? And you come back later to view a project of interest again. You know your PID directly, so you can directly type that in. 54833 was the one that I noted earlier. Come on. Maybe I typed it in wrong. I have failed you guys today. I've failed the public. I'm gonna make this where I need to stop clicking, so I apologize. I see a question has come up. Will this webinar be recorded and saved? And are there similar webinars? Yes, there absolutely are. LTAP records all of the webinars, and if it's successful, it will get uploaded to the LTAP YouTube channel. I'm not sure if links are made available through the LTAP communications, but if you just go to YouTube and search ODOT LTAP, and then there should be playlists for the TIMS webinar. So we know 4082 is a valid PID too. And if we search that one, yes. So when you use the search by PID button, if there are multiple records, it's going to bring you to this project search page. If there's only one record, it will go immediately to that project information page. But from either location, you can use the links to view and map or export. So hopefully that is useful, and it is just spinning. So looks like we just have about 7 minutes, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I thank you so much for bearing with me today as I've kind of stumbled through this site with some speed issues, but I do hope that you've gotten familiar with our TIMS mapping page and gotten an idea of all of the information that we make available, and then how you can learn more about those layers through our data glossary page, and how you can contact us for support or questions using the contact link in the footer. I hope you guys remember that there is a user guide available by clicking the help link in the footer. And I hope you take the time to explore all of the layers that we make available in the Create a Map page. And if you have a special interest, explore that map viewers page to see if there's something that applies to your daily job. And if there aren't any more questions, I think we can see if we can get Paula back on, and let you guys go about 5 minutes early. And you're welcome to reach out to me if you have any questions later on. I'm afraid we may have lost Paula as well.
I'm here. Just
Yay.
looking for giving people time for more questions, and nothing else is coming in.
Okay.
All right. So, Katie, do you have anything else? If not, I was trying to give people an opportunity to put some more questions in, but nothing seems to come in. So, I'm going to send out the information as soon as the webinar is complete with the link to this recording to all participants. And with that, say thank you for your time.
Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a great day and no technical difficulties in your future.
All right, we got some thank yous. Thanks, everyone.